speaker is Peter Xing, who is going to be joining us by Zoom. Let me quickly get my notes here. Peter is an associate director at KPMG in Australia, where he is responsible for technology, data, and innovation. He is also a global faculty member of the Singularity University, co-founder of Transhumanism Australia, executive of the Science Party Australia, and in between all of that, somehow, maybe by not sleeping much, he is also a senior member of the management team of Transhuman Coin. What is Transhuman Coin, you might ask? Well, Peter is now going to explain. Peter, the floor is yours.
David, and it's a pleasure to be here and an honor because I have all of my superheroes here in this conference. And thank you, David, for giving us the audience initially at the London Futurists event, to myself, Charles, and Elise from the team. And yes, since that was about a month ago, we have done so much more. So let me share my screen. And it was great to also listen to Javier and Paul. I really look forward to collaborating with you all. And I'm also a Vita DAO holder, so I'm so proud of the things that the team have done there. But Transhuman Coin, can you guys see this okay? Fantastic. I see it on my YouTube stream on the other side. Transhuman Coin, we just have the community slogan completed as well. It's investing in the future of humanity. So Transhuman Coin essentially is a community token dedicated to the transhumanism movement. And you can check out more at Transhuman Coin, #Transhuman Coin on Twitter. So in this presentation, I'll go through what is Transhuman Coin, why does it exist, how does it work, how will it help the transhumanism movement, how will we grow, who is part of the team, our upcoming milestones, and how do you buy Transhuman Coin? So thank you, Javier, earlier to summarize what Bitcoin is, so we don't have to explain that. But Transhuman Coin started off, with these concepts around Bitcoin. And thank you, Paul, for explaining Ethereum and how Vita DAO works with smart contracts. So tokenomics within Transhuman Coin contain all of that. And then there's Dogecoin, this memic community token. And now it's spawned a whole range of dog coins that we've seen, Doge on Mars, Shiba Inu, Baby Doge, and got Floki out there as well now, but with Elon Musk's puppy. But you can see that so much buzz can be generated through these community tokens, but why isn't it doing it for a purpose? And this is where Transhuman Coin comes in. It is dedicated to the transhumanism movement. We want to accelerate the transhumanism movement through this crypto token that is Transhuman Coin. It is a research and charity-oriented token built on the Binance Smart Chain, which is originally started off as a fork of Ethereum, but essentially it uses less energy, so less gas fees. It's actually better for the environment, but it sacrifices some decentralization for transaction fees that are much lower and transaction speeds that are much faster. So why does it exist? It started out from, as you can see here, from Charles Awuzie. So he's based in South Africa. He actually has over 60,000 followers, and he realized that the transhumanism movement needed to be in Africa. And we know that Africa is actually having a quiet cryptocurrency revolution right now. Actually, most of the transactions are happening that are in Africa are happening in Nigeria. It's one of the world's top 10 cryptocurrencies countries in Nigeria. Next to that was Vietnam and Philippines, but it's been growing exponentially. And you can see that this whole ecosystem of cryptocurrency, whether it's the crypto exchanges, it's the payments rails, it's all happening in Africa right now. It's actually in Nigeria that just approved the e-Naira. So the central bank digital currency is being rolled out over there as well. So even the government is getting on board for the on-ramps for cryptocurrencies. And we're also seeing a large presence of transhumanism that's happening in Africa as well, with H+ Africa, with Singularity U South Africa, with Mick Mann and the team that I'm also part of. And Charles has done an amazing job of converting a lot of the transhumanists over there. He started out as a pastor, but essentially using that to promote science and technology to actually have a lot of these people understand science and how to use the critical thinking to get them on board and understand the future of what transhumanism is about. How does transhumanism work? So essentially the tokenomics actually promotes the growth of the community. There is a reflection mechanism. A total supply still exists. So similar to Bitcoin, there's a maximum supply of 7 billion transhuman coins. But every transaction that happens with transhuman coin, 2% is donated to the transhuman marketing wallet, so we can actually promote transhumanism and also the transhuman coin itself. 2% also goes to the existing holders. So you get rewarded for being a transhumanist. And that includes a dedicated transhuman fund wallet. So with every transaction, it's actually going to the fund wallet as well, which we can actually make donations to transhuman projects. And we also have 2% going to the liquidity pool. So this is actually a growing pool on the PancakeSwap liquidity pool. As more transactions happen, it allows more liquidity for people to buy and sell into transhuman coin. Now, transhuman coins actually makes regular donations to transhumanism projects, which we'll get to as well. We have a scientific advisory board that approves these donations, and we meet regularly. We actually use community polls right now. So we're not using the advanced DAOs as yet, like Beta DAO, but actually this is actually getting us faster decisions for now. We actually want to move to a DAO in the future, but things like proving slogans like investing in the future of humanity just happened recently. The smart contract is verified on the Binance Smart Chain. Liquidity pool is 100% locked. So, there's things like you've heard in the cryptocurrency community where there's rug pulls. This is actually preventing any of this happening. And also regular burns from the dev wallet to spread that distribution of the holdings. So make sure that equal distribution happens across the wallets. Now, we've already made a donation to Lifespan.io, which I understand Paul is a part of the advisory board member, and we actually want to partner them with even more with Vita DAO as well. So we made a 10 million transhuman coin donation recently to Lifespan.io, and they made actually a great video on Lifespan News recently on transhuman coin, give us an overview. And essentially that value of the transhuman coin has since doubled. So what we donated with value of 10 million transhuman coin has actually doubled. And we have a market cap of around $1.8 to $2 million right now. And we're looking to donate to organizations in the longevity field as well, with the Methuselah Foundation, the Buck Institute, with the transhumanist organizations around the world, including the UK, which David is part of, and the Transhumanist Party US, including Kennedy, and we've got Art Ramon from the team as well, the International Longevity Alliance, the Mormon transhumanists like Lincoln Cannon, and obviously the Humanity Plus organizing this amazing conference for Transvision. One interesting story is that Methuselah Foundation has become the steward of one of the dog coins. This is Dogelon Mars. So Vitalik Buterin essentially was given 50% of Dogelon Mars, and the community thought that that was a burn wallet for Vitalik. And what he ended up doing is actually he was sick of getting all these dog tokens, so he donated 50%, his entire holding, to Methuselah Foundation. And funny enough, that community is now turned into a pro-lifespan, health span organization crypto. So Dogelon Mars is being stewarded by Methuselah Foundation. And this is where we think a dedicated token for transhumanism can do even better than Dogelon Mars and all the dog coins out there. And in terms of how we grow, we want to have more holders of transhuman coin on their balance sheet. Now, if you think of it as a typical investor, you're not going to get access to private investment for things like the Longevity Vision Fund from Sergey Young. You're not going to get access to Juvenescence with Jim Mellon, because you might not be a sophisticated investor to qualify for those investments. And you can see that portfolio of their organizations is actually amazing. And as Paul said earlier, there's so much money going into the longevity field. We want the community to get involved through these charity tokens as well, so we can make these donations. So at the end of the day, we grow with more holders on the balance sheet. So we want these organizations and these companies, these startups, to hold transhuman coin on the balance sheet, because that can help them mark up their valuations, get loans in terms of increasing their balance sheet. And we want larger and larger organizations and public companies to hold it as well, whether it's these CRISPR companies like Intellia, CRISPR, Editas. We've got Moderna and mRNA and Pfizer that we really want to push the boundaries around mRNA, and Unity Biotech as well, and Google's DeepMind, all these AI companies that we understand as the super intelligence pillar from David Pierce, including Tesla, that's coming out as one of the front runners around AI development and robotics. And obviously in SpaceX and Neuralink, where essentially we can have those brain-computer interface organizations hold transhuman coin. And essentially, we have over 3,000 transhuman coin holders and counting already, and in the space of about 2 months since the project started. And there has actually been over 300 people that have applied for these photo frames to promote on Twitter and Facebook that we hold transhuman coin. We are the transhumanists that are growing to it. And holding this token is actually an economic incentive to actually understand more about transhumanism itself. So we found that this is actually almost like finding a market fit, essentially, for the transhumanism movement, right? And what's happening now is that we're doing a lot of fun and engaging marketing to introduce transhumanism to younger and tech-savvy generations all around the world. For example, these deepfakes we're making around Elon and Bezos, who you might have fought in a movie. Might recognize some of these faces here. Sorry. And there's also a whole bunch at, for example, David Sinclair, when he's raising funds for longevity. So, there's a whole bunch of silly things that we have, but essentially it's all about how do we get that mnemonic element into transhumanism itself, so we can spread the word, get more people, but also learn along the way, because things like Altos Labs, that what's happened there, the funds that David is raising through it, and also what George Church is doing in, essentially becoming exceedingly efficient at understanding what mRNA and CRISPR and AI can do. So this is more of the same around that. But currently we're growing the management team. So we've got Dr. Charles Awuzie, who's actually an information security expert and chief technology officer of Gensbach in Joburg, South Africa. And he's actually a cybersecurity expert and a best-known advocate in transhumanism in Africa. Myself, we've done the introduction there. Elise Sue's a software engineer at Palo IT, and she's co-founded 3 ventures, including genomic data and machine learning startups, a healthcare startup, and a Transhumanism Australia as well. And she's also a startup mentor at Australia's CSIRO on SciTech Accelerator program in Australia. And the chair of our scientific advisory board is Dr. Avinash Xing. He's an Australian Research Council postdoctoral research fellow in the Australian Artificial Intelligence Institute, and it's at University of Technology in Sydney. He's also the founder of India Future Society and part of the Transhumanism Australia as well. He actually serves on the IEEE Standards Committee on Neuroethics and BCIs, and he recently received the Google TensorFlow Faculty Award in 2021 to support and promote work in brain-computer interfaces. So yeah, we have a massive following there. And also we have Zane, who's actually a specialist in the chiropractics. Got Jabu as well, who's a medical doctor in dermatology. And as you all know, Dr. Toller in the audience. Everyone wave hard to Dr. Toller. Hopefully he's out there in the audience that I can see. He's an American-based medical doctor training and certified senior clinical research associate by profession. So we also have Art Ramon from the Transhumanist US, and Jonathan Woods, who's an expert risk specialist at one of the large banks in Australia. So in terms of the risks and cybersecurity risks, so we have some experts as well on the advisory board. In terms of increasing the utility of transhuman coin, we're actually going to be launching our own NFT collection. So as you heard from Paul, these non-fungible tokens allow people to essentially have the proven ability to show that this is the one of one, for example, of art in the digital world. And we've seen an explosion of NFT and valuations, and also the explosion in the ecosystem they can do. We're actually working with Cy Gorman, who's an immersive and interactive digital media designer focused on digital well-being design. He's the founder of NeuroBody and a teaching member in digital media at RMIT University. And he works in the blockchain arts and the NFT space, as well as in AR and VR. And we'll be actually launching this on the Pancake Swap NFT marketplace that's recently announced. And what we think that these NFTs will be able to do, so there'll be 500 of these procedurally generated NFTs like these as well. These utility of the NFTs can actually be used in things like conferences as part of the memberships. So you just log in with your cryptocurrency wallet, such as MetaMask or Trust Wallet, and working with all the transhuman conferences out there and Singularity University and the aging conferences as well for longevity, we could actually come together and form that membership and actually sell these NFTs for tickets to these conferences all around the world. We also have upcoming community NFT collections. This is from Jugnu in India. She's actually come up with cyberpunk transhuman future as well. So these will be coming out on the Pancake Swap too. The transhumanism community artworks will be minted by Transhuman Coin as NFTs on the Pancake Swap, and the proceeds will be used to purchase Transhuman Coin for the artists and actually drive the utility of Transhuman Coin as well. And finally, also Transhuman Coin payments. So for transhumanists, freelancers, and e-commerce, Charles actually owns Sahara Skills, which is the freelancer.com or the Fiverr.com of South Africa. So we've got Sahara Skills. This is actually hiring Africa's best freelance experts. We can go in and search for services and get things done from freelancers. And we can also use this as an e-commerce store. So this will be, for example, selling books. We've got Ray Kurzweil coming out with his, The Age of the Singularity next as well. So hopefully we can also put his book here as well. We've got the Transhumanist Reader from Natasha in the audience. We've got Zoltan's Transhumanist Wager, and David Sinclair's Lifespan, and Sergey's Growing Young, and Newton Lee's Transhumanist Handbook, which a lot of you have contributed to. And also, things like merchandising, right? So we've got a lot of t-shirts that will be on this e-commerce platform that will accept Transhuman Coin payments as well on the roadmap. And here is the roadmap that we've done so far. So we've completed our core developments of Transhuman Coin. It's a Binance Smart Chain BEP20 token. We've launched the public sale. We've listed on the Pancake Swap. We've got the listing on Blocked Finance that you can check the price of. And there's even PooCoin where you can actually check the price of as well. And since then, we've moved on to get to a centralized exchange, such as CoinsBit. We've also essentially done the promotion marketing, and we've hit the 2 million market cap, and we're registered as an LLC in Delaware as well. So we've also made the first donation to Lifespan. We've done weekly buybacks and burns. We've listed on we're going to list on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, because that essentially threshold of the 2 million market cap is where we're at the moment. And we're actually going to be launching the NFT collection on Pancake Swap. And coming up next, we'll be doing things like Transhuman Coin lotteries to improve the utility of Transhuman Coin, listing on Binance, listing on Coinbase, creating the e-commerce store for Sahara Skills, and essentially the Transhumanism Research Center we'll get to shortly as well. But that's going to be a decentralized virtual lab. It's going to be all around the world to fund these transhumanism projects with Transhuman Coin's fund wallet. And in the future, we also want to fund things like the play-to-earn type of utilities for these NFTs to generate more and more of these transhumanist use cases. But we want the transhumanist leaders to be part of that journey as well. And we'll be building multi-chain partnerships. So right now we're on the Binance Smart Chain. We want to bridge to Ethereum 2.0 so we can work closely more with VitaDAO and the others, but also make sure we have that resilience with that decentralization on Ethereum 2.0. And also Cardano with Chris Hoskinson, who's actually a transhumanist himself, an advocate for longevity. Pulse Chain as well with Richard Hart and what he's done for the community as well. And things like Singularity Net from what Ben Goetzel is working on as well. And Proof of Humanity on Ethereum, that's something that we can actually validate every single person, actual humans, on the Ethereum blockchain. And eventually that we can actually do things like universal basic income as well with Transhuman Coin. So that's a quick overview. So how to buy Transhuman Coin. So if you want to just go through a centralized exchange, you can use CoinsBit. But if you already have Binance Coin in your wallet, for example, MetaMask or Trust Wallet, or you know how to get Binance Coin and you could just transfer it to Trust Wallet or MetaMask, you can just go straight to pancakeswap.finance, and you can actually find Transhuman Coin from our website, the contract address, as a custom token. You can swap your Binance Coin to Transhuman Coin on PancakeSwap and any other decentralized exchange that is compatible with the Binance Smart Chain. And ultimately, by 2023, we want to create the Transhuman D-Center, funding decentralized virtual research labs for global transhuman projects. Initially, we thought this was going to be a centralized lab, but essentially our scientific advisory board said, look, there's these labs, the research is going on all around the world, and we don't want to be bogged down by these physical assets. As a cryptocurrency, as a token, and a community, we want to be able to extend this virtually. So decentralized research labs is going to be the way to go, and working with organizations such as those longevity organizations, as well as projects that potentially VitaDAO will be funding as well. So that's just a quick overview. Thank you so much for listening. Go check out transhumancoin.finance. Join our Telegram group by Transhumancoin. Check out our Twitter at Transhumancoin and find hashtag Transhumancoin along with hashtag Transvision.
Thank you very much, Peter. I hope you can hear me. My Zoom connection seems to be struggling here. Let me pass on a question that's been sent to me online by one of the speakers from earlier in this conference. And I think he asks a question that's going to be in many of our minds. Rohit Talwar says, a lot of this stuff is really quite confusing for the ordinary person. The underlying financial mechanisms such as development burns and liquidity pools, they're brain-breaking for most people. What can we do to help explain these ideas to the wider market to potentially increase the number of supporters of this initiative?
Yeah, but I think I caught that. Yeah, what can we do to explain these in a simple way to the ordinary person? The easiest way, I guess, is to get involved. You can always start with Bitcoin. I think that's Bitcoin is a great way to start. And we learned, it's a store of value, the digital version of gold. We've heard from the Ethereum holders that, if you want to get more advanced and learn about smart contracts, that's the next thing to get onto. And once you're into Ethereum, then you can understand all these other networks that are out there. So Binance Smart Chain is an alternative network to Ethereum. And that gets you more and more exposed to all these applications that are built out on the third generation of the World Wide Web. And this is where we're at. This is kind of like the internet, the dot-com boom of where we were when the World Wide Web first came out. We lost you just earlier, David. Can you hear me okay?
Thanks. We may have time for one or two more questions. If somebody in the audience wants to ask, please come down and speak into Jose's laptop. Otherwise, Peter won't be able to hear. There is a view that what you're offering, Peter, is too good to be true. That you've said you're going to be looking after people who are lame, people who are deaf, people who've got all kinds of issues. How can you possibly manage to provide meaningful contributions to all of these different causes?
And the great thing is that we don't have to donate directly to the individuals that are suffering those. We actually want to donate to organizations and charities that are already making that impact. We want to accelerate the transhumanism movement through these existing organizations and charities. So essentially our scientific advisory board can select the ones that are having the best impact, the most impact. We picked lifespan.io initially because we saw that that was a true bottom-up, community-driven movement for longevity. And actually it was going to be one of the first to be on the priority list. And the next is essentially going to be more sort of the structured versions of these longevity organizations like the Buck Institute and the Methuselah Foundation. So that way we can actually see those longevity projects come to fruition. But we want more people to join our scientific advisory board so we can make those better decisions as transhumanist leaders. And looking forward to you and speaking to Dr. Toller, and we can catch up together as a team to make these decisions together. So yeah, that's essentially, we want to make sure that contribution goes a long way.
Hi there, can you hear me? Okay. I loved your talk, and I love the fact that you use so many artistic images and references and were so generous with your references. And I'm going to invest. You won me over, so I'm really delighted. Oh, I can see you on the other computer. Hi there. This is Natasha Vita-Moore. We've met online a number of times, but so I'm going to invest for sure, and I want you to speak at one of Humanity Plus's upcoming roundtables, hopefully with David and Paul. That would be great. But I wanted to say something that I think is so utterly important, and it should be referenced here, and I'm going to pay tribute to Hal Finney. And of course you know of Hal Finney. Hal Finney was one of the first Bitcoin adopters, and he really was out there in the very beginning of Bitcoin. What was that, 1990, the early 1990s. Hal Finney is now in cryonic preservation at Alcor. Life Extension Foundation, but he was even thought to have created Bitcoin. So he's a transhumanist, which is lovely. And deeping back a little bit further, not too much, but in the late 1980s, our dear friend and transhumanist Ralph Merkle created the Merkle tree. And the Merkle tree is the mathematical architecture for blockchain. It is used as the quintessential foundation for blockchain. It's called the Merkle tree. You can find it on Wikipedia. But I think it's so lovely that we're moving forward this, and I love the idea of the transhuman coin. And I just wanted to pay tribute to you and to dear Hal Finney and to Ralph Merkle. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. I'm looking forward to getting on board as well.
So I'm not sure if you've got an answer to that, but I think that's probably a great place to leave this conversation. People can find out more from the links you have provided online. Peter, any final takeaway message before we move over to the next speaker?
No, thank you so much, David, and have a great time at UNESCO Tours, everyone, and I look forward to hopefully coming back next year in person.
Thank you so much, Peter Xing and Transhuman Coin.